The Pale Blue Eye appears on Netflix January 2nd, 2023. It is a murder mystery thriller set in a time and place you've probably never seen in the movies, 1830s America, upstate New York, at the West Point Military Academy. One main attraction of this movie is Edgar Allan Poe is a character in this movie, and many of you know the writer and I think he's an amazing genius, Edgar Allan Poe. I have studied 19th century America, literature, culture, history. The more I study it, the more I think he's just an absolute genius. Now, he plays a character in this movie who, the real Edgar Allan Poe was stationed in West Point at this point in time, and he plays a man hired by a sort of kind of private detective, Augustus Landor, played by Christian Bale, who is set with the task of investigating a crime, actually a murder, at West Point. A corpse has been found with a noose around its neck. Also, the heart's been cut out of this man. So what's going on here in this place and time? And the West Point guys want to figure out without the people in Washington D.C. finding out what's going on. So they hire Landor, who is kind of sort of a private detective, even though they didn't have those back in the day. And as you may know, Edgar Allan Poe helped invent or helped popularize detective fiction, early popularizer of it in his own fiction, and of course in the timeline, he's a young man in this movie. He would write that detective fiction a few years later. Now, Landor, played wonderfully by Christian Bale, has demons of his own. He's had a daughter, but his daughter is dead. He mourns her death. And as this is a Scott Cooper movie, a director I mostly like quite a bit, it's going to be about unrequited grief, which is a Poe theme, by the way, in most of his poetry, a driver of his poetry and some of his fiction. Unrequited grief that is so heavy, laden, and burdensome that you just can't get over it, and it's devastating to you. That comes up in a lot of Cooper movies, like Hostiles, for example. It's here as well. Anyway, the young Poe tries to help this Landor detective out. They try to deal with ciphers, like little bits and fragments of text, and try to figure out what it means. There's another couple murders that happen during the course of the movie. And so what is going on? Well, maybe it's Satanism, devil worship, witchcraft, who knows, but there's lots of old books and mysterious settings in this film. Now, I gotta tell you, I am super biased when it comes to this movie. It feels like they made this movie for me. 1830s America, detective fiction, Poe, Christian Bale, and a cast that is remarkable. Harry Melling plays Edgar Allan Poe, and Harry Melling looks like he should play Poe. He was born to play Poe just by his appearance. But also you got Robert Duvall in this movie. You've got Timothy Spall. You've got Elizabeth Gainsbourg, Gillian Anderson, Toby Jones. I mean, the casting director did an amazing job of compiling all the actors here, because this is a great cast just in and of itself. So the casting director is probably the all-star of this film. But if any of that stuff attracts you, that I just rolled off, I think you'll probably like this movie. But if none of that stuff interests you, you might not like this movie. I find it to be a pretty slow-going movie. From minutes 30 to minutes 70, it's pretty slow. There's several, I think, unnecessary scenes. I think the movie could be cut 10 to 20 minutes and could survive the cut. And then I wondered, by the end of the movie, I know who the killer is, because it's pretty obvious. I mean, in detective fiction, you've got the law of important characters, which is any character appears in the film or in the story is a suspect. And with a limited number of suspects, and you know that Poe isn't the killer, because how could he be? Then our choices of the killer, it's very narrow in this movie. So I thought it was super obvious. But then the movie climaxed with about 20 to 30 minutes left. And I thought, what are they going to do with the last 20 to 30 minutes? Well, I think the ending is really good. I appreciate it. I thought it was heartfelt. It did move me, and a lot of that is Christian Bale's acting, Harry Melling's acting. I think that, Bale always gives it his all. I really love him as an actor. But the whole scenario at the end, I actually liked a lot. There will be people who think it's hokey and gimmicky, though. So it's hard for me to say I recommend this movie to anybody, because I know it's for me, and I know I'm biased, and I can't see past that bias, and yet I liked The Pale Blue Eye. It's also a striking movie visually. It's got, white winter settings and these sort of strong blue uniforms of the military contrasting with that. I think it's kind of a cool setting too. And Cooper's always really good with his cinematography of landscapes, visual elements. So all in all, I will give this movie 3 to 3.5 stars. It's a tentative recommendation. If you've liked anything by Scott Cooper, if you like Christian Bale, if you're interested in the Poe material, or you just want a murder mystery, I think this movie will be okay for you. If not, then probably can skip it. But this is okay, actually. So that's my recommendation. What do you think of Pale Blue Eye? Let us know in the comments. And please subscribe to this channel for more great content. Thank you. Have a great day.